If you've been scrolling through endless lists of pre-built gaming rigs, watching YouTubers argue about the best value and still feel that knot in your stomach every time you think about spending a few $100 on something that might not click with your setup, you're not alone. I've been there, staring at the same spreadsheet of CPU cores, GPU memory and price tags, wondering whether the next box I open will finally give me that smooth 144Hz experience in Apex Legends without forcing me to downgrade my stream quality. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review we'll walk through what the BEASTCOM Q5 Pro actually delivers in the day-to-day, where its promises line up with reality, and which type of gamer should give it a green light or walk away. First off, the Q5 Pro is marketed as a plug-and-play machine that you just pull out of the box, press the power button and start gaming. That promise is appealing for anyone who isn't comfortable assembling a custom build. But the real test is how quickly it gets you from cardboard to cockpit. The moment I turned it on, the Windows 11 welcome screen popped up within a minute. No long BIOS flashing, no driver hunting. That fast start is exactly what the plug-in power on Go Beast tagline hints at, and it lives up to it for a casual or entry-level enthusiast who wants to jump straight into titles like Fortnite or Valorant without spending an afternoon tweaking settings. Now, the headline specs an AMD Ryzen 5 4500 6-core processor, an NVIDIA RTX 3050 with 6GB of VRAM, 16GB of DDR4 RAM and a 1TB NVMe SSD paint a picture of a balanced mid-range system. In practice, the CPU holds its own in games that lean on single-thread performance, such as CS::GO or League of Legends. You'll see stable 120,130 frames per second at 1080p high settings, which translates to smooth gameplay on most 144Hz monitors. The RTX 3050, while not a flagship, is capable of ray-traced shadows in Minecraft and decent DLSS 2.0 upscaling in Control. For a gamer who isn't chasing 4K ultra settings but wants the occasional visual boost, it's a sensible match. One of the hidden trade-offs comes from the combination of a mid-tier GPU and a 6-core CPU. When you push the graphics settings to the max in more demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077 or Red Dead Redemption 2, the frame count drops into the 4,555 frames per second range, even with DLSS on. That's not a deal-breaker if you're okay with medium-high settings. But it does mean the Q5 Pro isn't a future-proof solution for AAA releases that will keep climbing in GPU demand over the next few years. If you plan to stay at 1080p and are comfortable dialing back shadows or texture quality for smoother play, you'll be fine. If you're eyeing 1440p or higher resolution soon, you might feel the pinch. The storage story is where the Q5 Pro shines. The 1TB NVMe SSD loads games in seconds. I saw Assassin's Creed Valhalla launch from the desktop in under 10 seconds, and level transitions in Elden Ring felt instantaneous. That speed also translates to quicker OS boot times and less waiting when you're switching between a game and a streaming software like OBS. For creators who need to edit footage while keeping a game running in the background, the SSD bandwidth is a genuine productivity boost. Thermal performance is another practical concern. The case design includes front-facing intake fans and a rear exhaust, and the system stays comfortably under 70 degrees Celsius during extended 2-hour gaming sessions. You'll notice a faint whir from the fans, but it never becomes an audible distraction, even with headphones on. The downside is that the chassis is fairly compact, which limits future upgrades. If you ever want to swap the RTX 3050 for a higher-end GPU, you'll need to check the physical dimensions and power connector availability. The PSU is a 450W unit, which is sufficient for the stock parts but leaves little headroom for a 600W GPU without a replacement. Speaking of power, the inclusion of Wi-Fi 5 is handy for gamers who don't have a wired Ethernet run in their gaming room. I tested a 5 GHz connection on a typical apartment network and saw ping spikes stay below 20 milliseconds, which is more than acceptable for competitive shooters. However, if you have a fiber optic line and rely on low-latency wired connections, you might find the Wi-Fi feature unnecessary. Who should consider buying the Q5 Pro? If you're a college student, a first-time PC gamer, or a streamer who wants a reliable baseline without the hassle of building, this machine gives you a respectable performance envelope for about the price of a high-end laptop. It's also a solid secondary rig for a household that already has a primary gaming PC but needs a portable solution for LAN parties or a dorm room. The value comes from the ready-made nature, the fast SSD, and the balanced Quadpo combo that covers most modern esports titles with room to breathe. Who should skip it? If you're a hardcore AAA enthusiast who wants to max out settings at 1440p or 4K, or if you plan to upgrade.